the United States government is open for business. What does that mean for you and for the country? Joining us for insight now is Professor of Political Science at Tarleton University, Dr. Boleslaw Kabala. Good to have you with us today, Dr. Bo.
Thank you for having me. Good to be here.
Now, first, your reaction to the end of the shutdown.
Yeah, spectacular news. And this was the longest shutdown on record. So I think everybody was getting nervous. I have to be in Boston this coming week. So thank goodness. I wasn't sure if we could go past 35 days, which was the previous longest shutdown. But good to see stability start to be restored and all kinds of political questions and implications going forward, certainly.
That's it. What's the biggest thing that you're wondering about from a political standpoint?
I think we have the sort of received wisdom confirmed, people who say open the government or else. That just never works. It didn't work for Republicans in the 1990s against Bill Clinton or for the GOP against President Obama. Politically now, I think the question is, where does the Democratic Party go? In many ways, you could say this has been a victory for moderates in the Democratic Party. So 8 senators joined a majority of the Senate to allow for reopening. In New Jersey and Virginia, there's the case that could be made that Mikey Sherrill, Abigail Spanberger, moderate Democrats won, and the base is very unhappy with Chuck Schumer. So there's a war going on within the Democratic Party, and I just think politically, we'll see where this goes. The Democratic Party is struggling to find its identity, and that's the struggle that we'll see play out.
And how do you see this potential win for moderates in the Democratic Party weighing against the recent win of Mamdani to the role of mayor in New York City? And he's notably much further left of moderate.
Absolutely. He's openly a Democratic socialist. It looks like the mayor of Seattle will now be a Democratic socialist. So undoubtedly, there's a big part of the Democratic Party that can make the case they didn't get anything out of this reopening. I mean, in my opinion, that's not the case, but there's a logic there. So we're going to have a vote on restoring Affordable Care Act subsidies, but the reopening itself does not commit to an extension of this aspect of the Affordable Care Act. And so I think the Democratic Socialists can point to Mamdani, can say, this strategy politically did not work. So I think both sides will be energized as the Democratic Party fights it out for its future here.
And just to that point of there being a vote, and it's not likely that Democrats will get their way in that vote. So do you anticipate another shutdown coming early next year?
I'm not entirely sure that there won't be an outcome to the subsidy vote that isn't agreeable to Democrats. I think on the Republican side, senators like Josh Hawley have really warned, and that many Americans in rural areas, they're not just Democrats, it's Republicans and Democrats, have come to depend on the price support, the support that over these many years the subsidies have provided. So I'm not 100% sure whether it's an extension of the subsidies, whether President Trump is getting together with Senator Fetterman to see about a different kind of creative solution. I think warning voices on the Republican side are sounding the alarm. The subsidies cannot just be allowed to expire. There needs to be something that's done to address this healthcare, really situation that's imminent.
And there were a number of other issues, although that one got the biggest airtime in the Democrats' sticking points to let the government reopen. What do you see happening to those other key areas, such as funding agencies and also, letting employees go within the government, those issues?
Absolutely. Well, there's a commitment in the legislation now to provide back pay for furloughed workers. Of course, we saw in Virginia the fact that civil servants, government employees were not receiving paychecks, likely played a big role in that governor's race. So it's interesting. I mean, the legislation, it's a combination of 2 appropriations bills we should have 12 appropriations bills to actually fund our government. That's the right way to do it. But we're combining 2 out of 12 here with a continuing resolution, as it's known, that keeps the government funded through the end of the year. So in my opinion, we'll see, plane flights resume. We won't see mass chaos at airports, although we were starting to get into it. In my opinion, the bigger question is, should we do something about our budget process going forward? Yeah. The current budget process set up in the 1970s, so we can afford this kind of thing every few years.
I mean, the system is set up to presumably allow this kind of thing to happen, and it has happened so many times in U.S. history, though this being the longest one does make you kind of stop and think, is this system working as it was designed to? Is this the best way that it could work? And if not, what do you think could be a possible solution going forward?
Sure. Well, and the system that's put in place in the late 1970s, and it's so Byzantine, but you've got the Congressional Budget Office, which provides the House and the Senate with numbers. You've got the Office of Management and Budget that is supposed to be providing the executive branch with numbers. At some point, asking about streamlining, I think would be well worth looking at. At some point, do we want to consolidate a little bit so that it's not 12 appropriations bills that are needed, but maybe 2 or 3? There's different creative solutions that people could consider. But in my opinion, yes, this is an option. But yes, something needs to be done, because this is really not good for anybody to have the shutdowns and the disruption and the dislocation, which was about to get much more severe in this case. So at least we avoided that.
Certainly. Now the government's back open. All eyes are on the road ahead, but there's going to be plenty of looking in the rearview mirror and looking within at many levels of government and within politics. Thank you so much for your insights today, Dr. Boleslaw Kabala. Good to speak with you.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Good to talk to you.